This house stood untouched since World War II. No one suspected what was hidden beneath it until the floor collapsed and revealed something that was never meant to be found. This is a real discovery. Across Europe, thousands of buildings survived the Second World War. Bombed, abandoned, and eventually rebuilt, these structures carry the deep scars of history. But some were never fully explored. They held secrets, not just within their walls, but deep beneath their foundations, because what was hidden underground was intentionally buried, meant to be forgotten by time itself. We often walk over history without ever realizing it. We live in homes built upon layers of the past, each layer holding stories of joy, sorrow, and sometimes profound mystery. These remnants of the war are more than just ruins. They are time capsules. From unexploded ordnance still found in fields to personal effects lost in the chaos of battle, the war's presence lingers. But nothing is quite as chilling as finding a place that was deliberately sealed off. A pocket of history, preserved in darkness, waiting for an unsuspecting moment to be revealed. This particular story begins not with a historical expedition, but with a simple home renovation, a project that would peel back the layers of time in the most unexpected way. In a quiet town in Germany, a family decided to renovate an old house that had stood since the early 1940s. It was a sturdy, unassuming structure, one of many that had weathered the storm of the mid-20th century. As the renovation crew worked on the ground floor, replacing old wooden floorboards, the ground suddenly gave way. It wasn't just a weak spot. A section of the floor collapsed entirely, revealing a dark, gaping hole. The air that rose from the opening was stale, carrying the scent of damp earth and something else, something ancient. Peering into the darkness, the workers saw not a simple crawl space, but the top of a hidden staircase, descending into the unknown. There were no blueprints that showed this staircase. No city records mentioned any kind of cellar or basement extension. It was as if this part of the house never officially existed. Guided by a mix of caution and intense curiosity, the team, now joined by local historical experts, began the slow process of excavation. They carefully descended the concrete steps, which were coated in decades of dust and grime. Each step took them further away from the present day and deeper into a forgotten chapter of history. At the bottom of the stairs, they found not an open space, but a solid, reinforced door sealed shut. The silence was absolute, broken only by the sound of their own breathing. This was no ordinary cellar. This was something else entirely. With the proper tools and extreme care, the team managed to open the sealed door. It swung inward with a heavy groan, breaking a silence that had lasted for nearly 80 years. The beam of their flashlights cut through the pitch-black interior, revealing a small, rectangular room. The air inside was cold and stagnant. Dust motes danced in the light, disturbed for the first time since 1945. Against the walls, stacked neatly, were several large wooden crates. The markings on them were faint but unmistakable. The eagle and swastika of the Third Reich. A chilling sense of discovery washed over everyone present. This wasn't just an old storage room. It was a military cache, untouched since the final days of the war. They began to carefully open the crates. The first one contained weapons. Rifles and pistols, meticulously wrapped in oilcloth, were still in near-perfect condition. Another crate held ammunition, boxes upon boxes of it. A third was filled with gas masks, their rubber hoses still flexible, their glass eyepieces staring blankly into the darkness. But it was the personal items that were the most haunting. Scattered on a small table were letters that were never sent, their ink faded but still legible. A uniform was folded neatly on a cot, as if its owner had just stepped away for a moment. This wasn't just a collection of objects. It was a scene, frozen in time. As the team documented every item, a clearer picture began to emerge. This was not a simple storage depot. The layout, the contents, the very existence of this hidden bunker pointed to something far more specific. This was a fallback position, a last-ditch holdout, a place meant to be used if the war on the surface became truly desperate. The people who built this room, who stocked it so carefully, believed they would return. They were preparing for a scenario where they would need to go underground, to wait, to perhaps continue the fight from the shadows. The meticulous organization, the presence of personal effects alongside military hardware, all suggested a plan that was never executed. They were preparing for a future that never came. For whatever reason, the order to retreat to this bunker was never given, or perhaps the war ended too swiftly for them to make it here. They never did return. The bunker remained sealed, a silent monument to a desperate plan, its occupants lost to history, while their final sanctuary waited in vain. For decades, life continued in the house above, completely unaware of the time capsule of war and waiting that lay just a few feet beneath the floor. The discovery was immediately reported to the authorities. The site was secured and officially declared a historical finding of significant importance. Bomb disposal experts were called in to safely remove the weapons and ammunition, a delicate operation given their age. Historians and archaeologists then began the painstaking task of documenting the structure and its contents. Every letter, every object, every marking on the wall was photographed and catalogued, providing invaluable insight into the mindset of those preparing for the very end of the war. But even with all this evidence, many questions remain unanswered. Who exactly were the people meant to use this place? Were they high-ranking officials or just a small unit of soldiers given a final secret order? What specific event were they preparing for? Was it the final Allied push or something else entirely, a last stand that history has no record of? The identities of those who built and stocked the bunker are likely lost forever, their names unrecorded, their fates unknown. The bunker is a stark reminder that history is not always a complete and tidy story. It's full of gaps, mysteries, and silent places that hold their secrets tightly. World War II did not end everywhere at the same time. While victory was declared and the world celebrated, for some, the war never truly concluded. In hidden pockets across the continent, in secret rooms and forgotten tunnels, some people kept waiting. They waited for orders that would never come, for a tide to turn that already had. This house, with its secret buried deep underground, tells one of those stories. It's a chilling testament to the final desperate moments of a global conflict, a reminder that beneath our modern world, the echoes of the past are still waiting to be heard. Thanks for watching. If you found this discovery as fascinating as we did, be sure to subscribe for more journeys into the unknown.